Well, for me, teaching was always there, but there's different levels of teaching. When I met my teacher, I immediately wanted to teach what he was teaching, but not. I didn't want me to be the teacher. I want to spread the gospel, spread the news. Right? So at the time, this is a long time ago, and things have changed so much. It's like a different reality. So that teacher had an organization, and the organization was adapted to young cats like myself, who have a big mouth and have a deep love for what they're learning and want to share. But it wasn't me sharing. Again, he was sharing through me. So, because what do I know? I'm like a little kid. I've been doing this for, let's say, a year. What do I know, right? So, in other words, you're like a kid going to talk about, let's say you just discovered Jesus and you go tell people, I know about Jesus. What do you know about Jesus? Nothing, but I know enough I know that Jesus exists, and I'm arrogant and stupid enough to go tell you. Right? So in some circumstances it works, because that's how it has to be, and eventually, but it's because you're protected. You're protected by that spirit, and you're under the jurisdiction of the teacher. So when you make mistakes, you're not really making mistakes, right? But eventually, I got past this phase. I'm like, I don't want to be a kid anymore. I want to become a man. In the knowledge, I want to become a man in my understanding and my service, and I want to go on my own. I don't want to go on my own because I'm serving that lineage and that power, but I don't want to be I don't want to be behind something. And I want to bring innovation to this game. Just like my teacher did. I want to bring something new to the game. So obviously the teacher is going to look at you and say, are you sure? And part of the beauty of being young is that you're dumb. So you make decisions because you don't know what you're making as a decision. I say, yeah, I'm 100% sure that's what I want to do. So it's all right. That means you're on your own. It's kind of like the mafia. Mob bosses. This is not about the mafia, it's about power. So if you're, let's say, following this mob gangster, this godfather, you're under his protection. And then at some point, let's say you've done a good service and he likes you, and he says, listen, I want to have my own family. Right? I'll always give you, because you're not going to just have your own family. You're always going to give to the family, the main family. You're an offshoot, and you'll grow. It's like a multi-level marketing company. But I want to have my own family. It says, okay, but first of all, that means you're on your own. That means when you fuck up, it's on you. That means you need to figure it out on your own. That means you can't use my resources to get things started. You got to be your own. You got to do your own things. And every mistake is going to be on your shoulders now. So when we enter the field of everything in life, there's consequences, and there's actions and consequences. And when you're a kid and you don't understand the game of life, your parents are there. When you're a kid, and from society's point of view, when you make mistakes, until you're still a minor, they let it pass. When you make mistakes, your parents are there. They ground you. They try to teach you, right? And eventually, when you become old, or what's the urge? You're old enough to vote. How about that? You're considered now, from a legal point of view, an adult. From that point on, when you make mistakes, it's on you. So this is just an example of how it works. So everything in life has consequences, and actions and consequences, and things happens, and that's life. And if you don't understand the nature of the game you're playing, or you don't understand the field that you're in, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. And in the field of knowledge, it's a very, 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 very sensitive, profound, life transforming. It's a big power, especially knowledge. I'm not talking about knowledge of like a computer. I'm talking about knowledge of knowledge. See what I'm trying to say? Knowledge of knowledge. So, of life itself. This is like the most sensitive form of knowledge, and you don't understand the nature of the mind. You don't understand the nature of karma, which may be a concept for some people or a religious belief for others. Nas, that means the way people are constituted, who's constituted them, why, how come they're where they're at. Like, human beings are a sensitive organism. Like, imagine a very sensitive, complex instrument. And they're tuned in a particular kind of way. And you're not just allowed to go fuck with anything and everything whenever you want. There are consequences to do that. But you don't know that because you don't understand the game. And then you see people around, walking around, doing whatever they want, and they're playing, and you can't see the consequences of their actions because they're hidden, or you don't know them enough, or they don't show it to you, or it will happen in a minute. So you don't necessarily understand. So in the world of the subtle, but it's also in the outside world, but the subtle all the more, because the subtle, let's say, is 99, 98, 98, 95% of reality. All the invisible energies that rule our world are in the subtle, and the knowledge that we're talking about is operating within that realm. Right? It's like a website and the code. So people know how to use the internet. This is the surface. If you fuck up, it's pretty obvious. But then there's the programmers, and if they go into the back and they push a wrong button, the whole thing crashes. So it's a whole other level of game, and the level of seriousness is at a whole other level. So you may be interested and you may have an affinity towards the so-called healing arts or understanding knowledge or power for that matter. And then you want to adventure yourself into that, but you don't understand the cost of the game, the stake of it. And it's going to take you some time to learn. But this was where I was at. I said, listen, this is what I got to do. And also it's synchronized with the time that he's dying. So I don't think this is happening if he's not dying. I'm not wanting to do quote unquote my own things. It's because he's dying and there's something coming to an end. And I can't just stop. Like I'm on a mission. That mission was put in me, and I'm like, well, you're dying, but I'm like 24, okay? So I'm not dying, and I'm not going back to my life before, and I'm not like acting like I don't know what I saw, and I didn't live what I lived, and I didn't experience the things that I don't know I have to keep going. So that's what's animating me. So the conversation goes in a way like, okay, well, if that's what you want, I can respect that, but you're gonna become responsible now. So you better understand what you're doing, and you better master the game, because if you fuck up, it's on you and it's gonna cost you a lot. And when we're talking about this level of fucking up, it's a long, like whatever, when you fuck up, it's a big fuck up. It's not, oops, I cut your finger. It's like, no, I fuck with like your ancestors, not knowingly, because I was animated by I don't know what that did this. And I'm like, you in the middle of the jungle of darkness, and dealing with powers that are very, very old and ancient, and they're interweaved with your being and your this is like, it's not a game. So, for whatever reason, I was afforded that opportunity. In fact, I was motivated with a kick in my ass to do so, because it was my destiny. It was what needed to be done. And also, I had to learn so many things about so many things. And through the process, as I've said before, we make mistakes to learn. It's not mistakes, you don't know, but you got to learn. So I still had an environment and a safe space in order to learn, so that my mistakes were minimized. But I was like zealous, and I'm like, like a young moron. And fortunately for me, there was like a leash on my neck holding me down and just like slowing me down, even though I was very annoyed and frustrated about it, because I just want to just like burn through everything. And through the process, I've learned the things that I learned. I'd like to believe that I've matured and I've humbled myself. At least I understand power, I respect power, and I don't fuck with power. So if I've learned something, I learned that. And also I learned to respect who I am, the power I serve, its capacities, its limits. Well, I'm not going to say its limits, but its jurisdictions, let's say like that. Understand other people's powers, their jurisdictions, what happens when somebody breaks the laws, and whatnot, how to operate in this. I had to learn so much. It would take some time to describe. But all of this to be in a position where, okay, this is good. And through the process, I've met countless students, some for a short term, some for a very long term, some that have been around for 12 years plus. And I've learned a lot. So I don't know where we're going with this, but I clearly expressed what I had to express in regards to this. And if you want me to make a sales pitch, it's not happening.